All right, hello fellow coders, welcome back to this next lesson in the FreshVotes series. Now, as promised, we're going to be diving into the sort of the products area. So this is where when we go to /products endpoint, nothing shows up, right? We should really have this show a list of products that we can then click on and edit and so on and so forth. So right now what we have is an endpoint that is a get mapping that says /products, and all it does is return the product page. And the product page has a special statement here, a if. If the product is not null, then it goes ahead and prints out the product. Now the issue here is that product, this value here, is null when we go to the /products endpoint because we're not populating anything at all into the model for the /products endpoint. If the model is blank, then there will be no product on the model, and if there's no product in the model, it's not going to render this entire div, so all we're left with is a title that says FreshVotes products and a completely empty body, which is what we are seeing here. We see FreshVotes products and then nothing on the page. Okay, so that just explains why you see what you see here. But what I think is a better approach is I tend to, since this is going to be a bit of a completely different view when you have multiple products, so you want to be listing multiple products, that is, since it's a completely different view, we could put a different div in here that says if products is not equal to null. But they're two completely different views, and I don't really want to have if statements embedded inside of one page to separate the two views. It's just a bit messy. So what I tend to do is I want to add another view. I want to create another file called, let's call it products.html. Okay, so you have one file for listing all the products. We have another file for looking at and modifying and messing around with an individual product. Okay, so what I'll do for now is with the products HTML page is I'll copy from the product and paste it into products, and then do a bit of tweaking, right? I'll get rid of this if statement, and the H1 will say products, and then everything else for now will delete the form for now, and instead we'll list out the individual products that we have on the page. Okay, so now the next question is, okay, what products do we want to list out, right? So you might say, oh, I want to list out all the products. In other words, we want to go to the product controller, and inside of here to populate the model with something, we might want to say, the product repo.find, all. Give me all the products, right? And you might want to take that list of products, call them products. So take the list of products that gets returned from the find all method and just say model.put, call it products, and put the products variable on the model. You might want to do this, right? That might be your first instinct, in which case, and oh, by the way, I recorded this video once already and I realized there's a bug and I ended up going down a really long rabbit hole and I decided to reshoot this whole video. The bug, let me flip over to my database here. When I do select star from product, we get all the products in our database. The user ID was null for both of these. So this number 1 here, I know it's hard to see this, but there's a number 1 here associated for the user ID for these two products. These were null. In other words, the products I had created were not matched to any user. So that's a data issue. So it didn't work. I wasn't seeing any products showing up because of something that I'll explain in a moment. But I fixed the data issue, so now they're associated with my user account appropriately. So now if I hit refresh here and say ASDF, oh, I need to also make a modification to the HTML page. We need to iterate through the products that you put on the model, right? So we say div each product in products. And then we'll just list out, I don't know, the name of the product. We'll say text, and we'll do product.name. Just to list out the names of the products and refresh. Products. Do we need to reboot or anything? Products. Where'd it go? Dashboard. Products. Okay. Oh, product. There we go. It's rendering the wrong view. We need to render the products view. Okay, important to remember the /products endpoint should go to the /products view. Whoops, forgot to do that. So let me refresh, log back in. Okay, so there we see product 1, product 2. Okay, but the only problem here, let me manually show you what I want to illustrate here as being a bug. Let me create another product. So let me just manually insert into product a name, a user ID, and a published value. So the name will be product number 3. The user ID will be 2. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that, though, because there's probably a foreign key. Oh, no, maybe I can. Here we go. So let me do number 4. Number 4 exists, and that's John Doe. So let's say John Doe number 4, and then is it published or not? We'll just say, I don't know, 1 for yes, it's published. We'll insert it in product. There we go. So now we have 3 products. But look, the third product is associated with the user ID 1. So the third product, as you can see here, is associated with user ID 4, and product 1 and 2 are associated with user ID 1. So product 3, user ID 4, product 1 and 2, user ID 1. And I'm currently logged in as user ID 1, right? I'm currently logged in as Trevor at Crafty Coder. So I should not see product ID 3, or product number 3, I should say, which also happens to be product ID 3. But anyway, I should not see product number 3. But if I refresh, I do. So this is this is a problem. This is a data issue. This is me seeing other people's products. That should never happen unless you're some sort of admin user or something who has global access to the whole app. If you're just a regular old user, you should not see other people's products. That would be bad. So this is a security issue. So where does this come from? Well, where it comes from is the query that we're using. Okay, this is a self. We've created this bug ourselves when we did this. We said product repo.find all. We're literally finding all the products in the database with no filter whatsoever. Okay, so it's just doing what we're telling it to do, which is give me all of the products. So that's just too much. We only want to find products associated with us, the people who are logged in. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, the product entity itself, if I go in and look at the product class, you see we have an ID, we have a name, and we have a user. Okay, we have a user property, a user instance variable. So we actually would prefer, what might be better is to find all products by user. So we filter by the user that's logged in. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, can we just say, instead of product repo.find all, can we say find by user and like do something with it? Well, no, that doesn't exist. The method find by user is undefined. It doesn't exist. So we're going to have to create that ourselves. Okay, so we're going to go into the product repository, which is the instance variable that we're using here. We're going to go into it and we're going to create our own method. So this is Spring Data now. I'm talking about Spring Data specifically. This is a technology within Java. So all it is that this is an interface. Okay, so you treat it like any old Java interface, which means that any code you type in here, any methods that you add are not going to have a body. There's no body to these methods, unless you're using the Java 8 default keyword, but we're not using that right now. We're just using a plain old Java method inside of an interface. So the method needs to have 3 things. It needs to have a name, okay? And like any other method in Java, it needs to have a name, a return type, and a parameters list, either no parameters or 0 or more parameters, right? Those are the 3 elements to creating a method. So first is the return type. Okay, so if we're querying for a list, I just gave it away. We're querying for products associated with a user, right? So products, which means it's a list of products, okay? Or a set of products, but we'll do a list of products is the return type. So that's the first part. The second part is what's the name of the method. Now this is important. The name of the method must start with find by. Okay, for the purposes of what I'm about to explain. It has to be find by. So find by is a special pretext, a special prepended text to a method name that triggers Spring Data to do something. So find by is a special reserved sort of prefix, that's the word I was looking for, prefix, to method names that says, hey, Spring Data, I want you to do something special here. Specifically, this is called a derived query. So what's going to happen here is we're using the special name of the method to tell Spring Data to derive a SQL statement, a SQL query for us. In other words, we're not going to have to write any SQL at all. We're not going to have to understand SQL. We're just going to write out a special name and Spring Data will do the rest for us. It's going to create SQL on our behalf. How the heck do we get it to do that? Well, we are using the JP repository, which is Spring Data. It is leveraging the product entity, and we are allowed to use anything within the product entity in terms of its parameters, or what are these called? Instance variables or properties. we can find by ID, we can find by name, we can find by user, we can find by features, or we can find by published. Okay, these are all different filters that we can add to our custom, or I should say derived query that we're creating. So in this case, I want to find by user. Okay, so all we do is we find by user, but we have to just capitalize user. So because we need to, use camel case naming convention. So we say find by user, like this. Okay, sweet. We can do that. However, there's one more thing. Let me just bring in my list, import list. We want to find by user, but we also need to tell it what user to find by, right? If I just save this, I think I don't know if it'll compile correctly or not. Yeah, it's going to say there's no parameter. So it needs a parameter. We're saying find by user, but we're not telling it yet what user that we want to find by. So we need to tell it. We need to say find by a user, FreshVotes user, and we'll call it user because that's just a good name to, you kind of want to match whatever the name of the property is here. Put it in as a parameter name here. So now when I restart my server, it compiles correctly. Okay. Now just to show you, if you just added some more to the end of that name and saved, you see now it's not happy. It says invalid derived query, no property user blah, 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 found for the type product, and that's because it's literally going into our product here. And it is looking for a name of an instance variable that matches what you typed in the method name here. Okay, that's why it has to be find by user. Okay, and then if I save it and let it recompile, it's happy. Another example is we could say find by name, right? So we could say list of product find by name, and then we pass in a string name, okay, and save it. It'll compile. It's perfectly happy with that. So all it does is this is going to artificially or in the background automatically create a select star from. So let's say select star from product where user equals and then whatever the value of the user is. This one is going to do select star from product where name equals and then whatever the name is. Okay, so it's creating a select statement with a filter for us. Okay, and you can even go find by user and name and then pass in string name, right? Let me refresh everything, make sure, yeah. So that's what that would create is where user equals blah and name equals name, right? So you can actually get pretty fancy with these derived queries. But obviously all that I'm interested in at the moment is just find by user. So let me back out all the other stuff here. So that's all I want, find by user. So now we're only going to get the products associated with a particular user for this query. So now let me go back to my controller and say, when I find by user, what user do I want to use for this query? Well, I don't have a user in here yet, but I can bring one in. We've seen how to do that with this stuff right here. We can pass in the @authentication principal, which will automatically populate the contents of this user variable for us. So I can do that. I can pass in the authenticated principal user and then pass that into my find by user method. So now, if all goes well, instead of having 3 products listed, which is all of the products in the database, if I refresh and log back in, hopefully we're only going to see 2 products, right? There you go. So now we're filtering. We don't see all the products, but we only see the products that are have been associated with our logged in user. And then we can take it one small step forward and we can say, hey, instead of just listing the product name, let's turn these into links. Let's turn this into an anchor tag. And the href, so href is equal to, /products/ product ID, which is defined by, oh shoot, I haven't done this in a little while. Again, I've been on vacation for the past couple weeks, so I'm out of the loop. I'm out of the game when it comes to programming. Hopefully it'll all come back to me. I think this is how I do it, product.id. Let me just make sure this works first before okay, product, good. Yes, exactly. And then click on product 2, and it goes to product 2. Okay, phew. So yes, this is how we do it. We do a /href, and we do /products/ and then we have a sort of a path variable here that says, don't put in the actual text product ID. Instead, replace it with the value. This is essentially a variable placeholder. So we're doing a variable of product ID. And then over here, we're defining what product ID is in round brackets. So in round brackets, we're saying what is a product ID? A product ID is equal to, in Spring expression language, we're saying product.id. We can say product.id because product is right here, which is now a variable, which is each product that we're looping through. So this will spit out /1 for the first product and /2 for the second product. And that's going to be built into the href. So the actual link for the anchor tag will be a /products/1. And then for the second one, /products/2. Okay, and then for the text of the anchor tag, we're actually outputting the name of each product. So what that looks like is we get product 1 as a link, and we get product 2 as a link. And if you look down here in the bottom left of my screen, when I hover over product 1, you can see localhost 8080 /products/1. And if I hover over the second product, we get localhost 8080 /products/2. Okay, which resolves to, when I click on it, it resolves to the actual product that we are interested in, right? And I can say save product, right? Or do whatever I want to this particular product. Now, when I said save product, I think I might have lost in the database. There might have been a bug. Yeah, see, the user ID goes back to null. So I need to fix that bug. We can fix that in the next video. So we won't go that far. But there you go. Now we have this meaningful second step from our dashboard. We can go from our dashboard. Oh, shoot. I guess that should have been on the dashboard. That was the whole point of the dashboard. Oh dear, Trevor. So I should have put all of this code onto the dashboard. Oh, Trevor. So hey, let's ignore everything I just said about having a products page. Let's take this code that I created in the products page, and let's plug this into the dashboard real quick. I'm so sorry, guys. This is that's embarrassing. I meant to do this before. So create a product. So above, so on the dashboard, we'll create another row here, div class equals row. And inside here, I guess that'll be we'll have a products list. And then in this div, we will list out the products. And maybe we'll wrap all this in a div and say if there are products on the model. So I'll do a if we'll say products is not equal to null, I guess is how we'll do it. Okay, and then we'll have a row div class equals call, and that'll be that. And then we'll have a div class equals row. I guess we want a row for every product. We want a row, so let's bring this up into here, like so. There we go. So everyone has div class equals call. We'll bring that up into there. Okay, I think that should be good. So basically, we have a div here that says if the products variable is not null, then we'll go ahead and list out the products on the dashboard. So now we need to modify things slightly. So for the products controller, we kind of need to get rid of this products endpoint. We do. We want to put this into the dashboard. So sorry, we'll take the code that we wrote inside of here to get the products, and we'll put that into the dashboard on the /dashboard. So we'll list out the products here, and we'll bring in the user from the authentication principle, like this. Domain user, and we'll bring in the product repo from over here like we did up here. Do we use this anywhere other? Yeah, we do. So we'll copy this and we'll put it into here, into the dashboard controller, and then we will also put a model map into the dashboard so that we can just do the exact same thing as we did on the product page. And then the product controller, I think we might be able to get rid of the products endpoint completely, just because that was the whole point of the products endpoint, was to list out the products, which we're now moving into the dashboard view. So let's just see real quick if that worked. Refresh the page. Yeah, products. Now I see product number 1 only instead of 2 products. So it's not iterating through them properly. Oh, so that's, again, I tried my best to keep these videos short, but of course, it's getting a little bit more lengthy than I thought. So let's see, for each products is fine so long as it's not null. Each product should create a new row. So I believe that should have worked. Let me just have a gander at what the row looks like here. So div class row and column for products, row call. And then what's this row? Is this the create a product button? So this is actually kind of interesting. Why would it only return one? Oh, right. So of course. Stupid Trevor. The bug I was just talking about. So there you go. That's what the bug looks like. When you don't have a user ID, it doesn't get picked up by the query. So if I manually change the data to fix the data issue and I refresh, then we see two products. Okay, so there we go. That's it's ugly for now, but I don't want to go into detail on how to make it pretty. But as you can see, it still works. When I click on a product, it goes to product 1. If I click on product 2, it goes to product 2. So in the next video, we'll fix this bug where when we say save, it gets rid of the user ID on the product. So that will be what we do in the next video. Sorry for all that workaround and quick little data stuff or fixing stuff that I did for the dashboard. But there you have it. Now you can see how I very rapidly build out a UI on the dashboard page. Cool. So I'll see you in the next video, and we'll tackle that little bug that you saw with the data issue. Looking forward to see you there. Happy learning. Take care of yourself. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to leave a comment if you have a question, or subscribe to the channel, because obviously that's always a good thing. All right. Otherwise, take care of yourselves. Happy learning.